With more work, and again with the heat, melting the cocoa butter and blending it with the cocoa solids, you're going to get what basically looks like a very rich chocolate syrup. The only thing about 18th century chocolate is, in processing it, I could do this all day long and it'll still be a bit gritty. It will never get that totally smooth chocolate syrup. My kids, I got a question for you. If I went, do you think it would taste good? No. Have you all snuck into your mama's pantries and gotten a little baker's chocolate? Did it taste very good? No. So, there's something that's definitely missing in here, which we're going to tell you in a bit. But what we're doing is basically we're going to melt it all down so that we can mold it. And so molds in the 18th century, it could be either just simply as a ball or a block. They're going to be like this, and this, when it's in this state, it could last indefinitely. In fact, you could go into shops in the 18th century and purchase blocks of just pure chocolate, and you could just have it forever. Now, what would happen, though, if sometimes you saw a little bit of white, if you thought it was going bad, please don't think so. If it's pure chocolate with nothing added, that's just a bit of the cocoa butter that's risen to the surface. And so all you have to do is heat it again, and it's all going to get emulsified once again. In the 18th century, they were issuing blocks of chocolate to soldiers in the Revolutionary War, or at least the French and Indian War, as we've said, because, think about it, chocolate has naturally occurring caffeine, so you're going to get that stimulant. But also with that cocoa butter in there, if you're not having very regular meals, it's a bit of sustenance as well. And again, it has a long shelf life. So that's what we're doing right here. It will be molded, but that's not where you're getting your hot chocolate from yet. You have to do one more step.
That's right. I can tell you about that. They would tend to drink their chocolate in the 18th century rather than eat it. So to do that, we're going to take our block of chocolate and grate it down into a powder. We'll add that powder to our chocolate pot with some hot water or perhaps hot wine for a nice after-dinner dessert drink. At that point, though, we're going to add stuff to make it actually taste good. Now, we want to make it taste sweet. That's our first step. What should we add to make it taste sweet? Sugar. Good idea. Got some right here. Now, this stuff here is our raw sugar. And while it's more expensive now, this is what the common people would have had access to back then to add to their chocolate. The Washingtons would have had the more familiar looking white sugar, as you can see inside my package here. And that's the more refined stuff. This shape is called a sugar loaf, and it's actually so rock hard that you need a special tool called a sugar nippers to kind of snap and gouge off of that cone the sugar that you want to use. Once we've gotten that, we've made our chocolate taste sweet. How about we make it taste interesting? Got some spices here, all of which were used in the 18th century. See if you can identify them. Cinnamon, very good, very popular then and now. What about, say, that one?
Nutmeg.
Nutmeg, very good. Very popular this time of year as an ingredient in eggnog, things like that. Let's see, what about that one?
Vanilla.
Vanilla, that's right. When I first came, I thought this was a stick.
You've grown.
Yes, I've grown since then. This still is a stick. A lot of people will smell this and say, oh, it smells like chocolate. That's because we add so much vanilla to our chocolate now that we don't distinguish the two smells. It's probably the vanilla you're thinking of. Everybody probably knows this one. Red hot chili pepper, that's right. This is the first thing ever added to chocolate. When the Aztecs and the Mayans first figured this whole process out, they didn't go for any sissy sweeteners, they went straight to this stuff. And only this stuff. And it's actually starting to come back in chocolate bars now. Very old idea, just come back. This one here, these are kind of small seeds. They add a sort of licorice flavor.
Anise.
Anise or anise, that's right. Good thing to add. This last one doesn't have a smell, doesn't really have a taste. It's actually only here for food coloring. This is called annatto. And it gives things like Dr. Pepper or Kraft macaroni and cheese their color. If you add it to your chocolate, it'll give the chocolate a nice, rich, red-brown color. Once you've added all this stuff, after all this work, whatever proportion you like, you'll take your chocolate dasher, or molinillo, go in and start pushing around, up and down, work up a good froth, basically an 18th century latte. At that point, you're ready to pour and serve. But only if you're an adult. the 18th century, kids were not allowed to have chocolate.
That's
They had this idea that it was too stimulating for them. I don't know where they got that idea. But certainly we're more egalitarian today, and if you all come back for our samples at between 2 and 2:30, the kids are allowed to have some. And we'll see how they're acting, perhaps. But if any of you'd like to try some, we also do sell it in our gift shops in the powdered form already mixed. If you have any questions, of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.